Hi there, this is David and welcome to the Top 10 Worst JRPG Party Members Part 7. Here, we'll be recounting characters from classic RPGs who are just terrible in battle. If you missed the previous parts, please check out the video description for links and keep the comments and recommendations coming. It's been a hot minute since I've done one of these videos, but that doesn't mean that these useless characters won't incur my wrath. Number 10. Vincent of Final Fantasy VII. All this time, I've specifically shied away from calling out a particular character in this game. I feel like no matter who I choose, it's a losing proposition, because everyone has their favorites, but I'm here to tell you that it's not Cait Sith who's the worst, it's our vampire buddy Vincent. The reason for this is pretty simple. Everyone is just about a carbon copy of each other, only differentiated by a few things, such as their range, and more importantly, their limit breaks. With everybody else, you can save up your limits and then use them tactically, but because they make Vincent go berserk, you really can't do that with him, and God help you if the enemies absorb the element that Vincent's using. To add insult to injury though, towards the end of the game, his weapons either have no slots or no growth. It's really quite a shame because otherwise, he could make a pretty nice mage. Number 9. Geppetto of Shadowheart's Covenant. At first, Geppetto is just fine. He's your stereotypical old man black mage with awful physical stats, but in the beginning when your options are limited, it's nice to be able to hit all sorts of weaknesses with the old geezer. But then as you progress and you get more party members and more skills for everybody else, he just becomes very stagnant. People like Anastasia or Lucia are both able to dabble in magic and are far more versatile as well as durable. I mean, the poor old bastard will probably get one shot more often than not towards the end of the game. But I guess what I hate most about him is that he's just so slow. I want my mages to be able to clear out or disable a group of monsters before they all attack me, not afterwards. Number 8. Cray of Breath of Fire 4. This poor guy is just overshadowed. Of the 6 characters, 4 of them are physical attackers, and Cray's niche is already filled by Urshan. As a Warren clan member, you would think that Cray would be a speed demon, but that's not the case. He's actually the slowest of the bunch. And while both he and Urshan are tanks, the Tin can actually get some good spells, while Cray's magic is bottom of the barrel. Even Skyus, the red mage of the group, is better than him physically because he's faster, he can attack twice in a round, he can backup heal, and cast black magic pretty decently. This is compounded by the combo system, where if you really want to deal massive damage, magic is the way to go, but Cray, being the worst mage, loses out on this too. Number 7. Riku of Xenogears. Disappointment, thy name is Riku. Everything about him is just underwhelming, from his gear, to his stats, to his skills. He does nothing special, and when he does do anything, you can be sure that it's as slow as molasses. Riku is one of those tanks who just can't tank. His HP and defense are up there, and he can attack decently enough, but he can't draw any aggro, so it's just all pretty much pointless. Similar to Jean in Breath of Fire 2, you have to go through one of the worst segments in the entire game to get him, and I'm not just talking about the sewers. It's the entire Norture scenario. It brings shivers down my spine. Then, after you've gone through all that trouble of getting him, not only is he incredibly crappy, but like many other characters in Xenogears, the game just kind of forgets that he exists. Number 6. Ziggy of Xenosaga. Well, at least the guy has a nice chest, but unfortunately, that's about all he has going for him. Ziggy is one of those strong but exceedingly slow types that plague many a JRPG, but it's made so much worse here. The reason for this is that Xenosaga allows your characters to raise all sorts of different stats using tech points. However, agility is like the one stat that you can't raise this way, which pretty much means that everybody else is going to be able to shore up their weaknesses, but the poor cyborg can't. He's just stuck in one note land. To make matters worse, just about all of his attacks are fire-based, and pretty much every single boss in the entire game is resistant to that element. Use him at the beginning when you have to, but then bench the literal dead weight. Number 5. Gordon of Final Fantasy II. This spoony bard! Of all the temporary characters that this game throws at you, Gordon is easily the worst. Much earlier in the game you get Joseph, but your main 3 probably outclassed him, so Square in all their wisdom decided to give you Gordon later on, who even has worse stats than Joseph did. At least Joseph had the good sense to only stick around for one dungeon before getting promptly crushed by a rock. But Gordon hangs around much longer, only extending his uselessness. Honestly, because of the way that stats work in this game, you're probably better off just killing him yourself and then having the main 3 go on their merry way. Number 4. Gilder of Skies of Arcadia. Just ask yourself, once you get to choose who your 4th party member is, who do you go for? Well, if you want easy mode, you take Enrique for his Justice Shield, which cuts all damage for the entire party in half. Or if you just want to clear away randoms, deal tons of damage, and have a secondary tank, you'll bring along Drachma. But no one in their right mind should bring Gilder. The second-rate pirate just doesn't have anything going for him. He'll be playing second fiddle to Drachma damage-wise, and his one unique ability is that he can block status ailments. But they're not all that prevalent in this game, so it really doesn't matter. Having him as your 4th member is just handicapping yourself. Number 3. Forte of Shining the Holy Ark. Remember in Beyond the Beyond where Percy left the party within the first hour of the game, only to rejoin back up right before the final dungeon? Well, it sucked there, and it seems that the brain trusts at Camelot got the idea for doing that here with Forte. He's your standard black mage right from the start, only he leaves immediately following the very first boss. Then, by the time that he rejoins you later, like 3/4 of the way through the game, he's just trash. Everyone else has already been promoted by this point, and this loser is horribly underpowered and brings nothing else to the team that your other characters can't cover. There's just no reason to waste any time on him when everybody else is so much better. Number 2. Badrak, a Valkyrie profile. This guy is not only useless and weak, but pretty annoying too. Not only is the recruitment scene to get him incredibly long-winded, but it's random as well. It can occur in either Chapter 5 or 6. Normally in this game, you can take your terrible characters and just send them up to Valhalla, giving them a modicum of usefulness, but not with Badrak. He is the lowest hero value in the entire game and only has 2 positive traits. Also, by the time that you get him, Valhalla has no more need for archers. In battle, all of his attacks are just plain weak. Don't expect him to contribute anything of value to your team. Number 1. Half the cast of Radiata Stories. In Part 3, I covered half the cast of Chrono Cross, and in Part 6, I spoke of the many losers of Fire Emblem. And now I'm back to lambast this town full of losers. Starting off, we have Cornelia and her alter ego Rachel, who do absolutely nothing but run away from the enemies. I mean, as bad as Clive, Star, the farmers, and the Green Goblins are, at least they try to fight. It's just too bad that they just fail miserably at it, though. And what about Hyan? Just to get that moron, you have to beat him in gambling. Too bad the little punk screws you over all the time. Giske is a pile of steaming garbage, the bridge builder's attacks are too slow to hit anything, and pretty much every single mage in the entire game ranges from lame as hell to just dealing knockback damage to a complete joke. And let's not forget about Senelia and Morphin. They're so laughably terrible with the worst stats in the game and no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Well, that's it for the top 10 worst JRPG party members Part 7. Please be on the lookout for Part 8, and as always, feel free to mention the ones that you hate the most in the comments. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.